Police in Spain have arrested William Hunter. He was wanted for the murder of Elliot Mulligan in 2022. He fled after being given bail during an appeal for his conviction in Portugal. This is the Scarcity Studios YouTube channel. Please don't forget to like, comment, share and subscribe. The National Crime Agency has released the information that a British national from West Derby in Liverpool has been arrested. William Hunter, 34 years old, was arrested by the Civil Guard in Alicante on the 15th of September. This was following an extensive, coordinated manhunt with the National Crime Agency and the Spanish police. Portuguese authorities are now seeking to extradite him across the border to serve a 16-year sentence for murdering his roommate, Elliot Mulligan, aged just 22, and he was stabbed 24 times inside an apartment in April 2022. The National Crime Agency's liaison officers coordinated the exchange of intelligence and information between law enforcement agencies across in Spain, and agencies tracked down Hunter, and his arrest came months after the extensive work between the NCA, the Guardia Civil, the Portuguese police and also Merseyside police. The UK police had also provided ongoing support to Elliot Mulligan's family. Hunter was convicted of the murder in May 2023, but he lodged an appeal in Portugal and was waiting for the result of the appeal, and that meant that he was released on bail. And during this time he breached his bail conditions and fled, and a major manhunt would then follow. Hunter currently remains in custody in Spain, and he will be facing extradition proceedings very soon. Merseyside Police Detective Superintendent Mark Drew said the arrest of William Hunter was part of the joint operation by the Merseyside Police and the NCA. We are committed to working with our partners to capture anybody who tries to evade the law and bring them to justice. The story of Elliot and William is very confusing. Initially, they were very good friends and they went on holiday together, and Elliot was staying with William in a luxury residence in the Algarve. He arrived on the 6th of April, but by the 25th of April, they had an argument and Elliot was stabbed 25 times and managed to jump out of the apartment via a balcony and run down the street before he died. Elliot Mulligan was from Croxteth, and he was murdered by William Hunter in the grounds of the complex where he was staying on April the 25th, 2022. He was stabbed in his chest, his back, his arms and his hands by Hunter, who was jailed for 18 years in May 2023 in Portugal, and then will only be recalled to prison after a decision is made. And this is how he was able to flee the country, due to the fact that he was on bail. Gina then went on to say that she attended the trial, and due to the differences in Portuguese law and British law, there was only one day in court every couple of weeks, and they kept having to fly to and from Portugal in order to do this. They also said that Hunter showed no remorse, and he was fidgeting inside the dock and was also staring at them and never once apologised for what he did. She said in 2024 that she believed that Hunter would flee if he was given bail, and this is exactly what he did. An inquest last year heard that Elliot had been staying with Hunter at the luxury apartments in the Algarve, and in the early hours of the morning they got into an argument on the 25th of April. The police were alerted at 6:30 a.m, and the 22-year-old was pronounced dead at the scene a short time later. So this is definitely going to be some good news for the family of Elliot Mulligan, and of course this is dragged out for far too long, and at the same time, should he have even been given bail in the first place? In England he probably wouldn't have never got bail just because he was trying to appeal this situation. But the real motive and reason as to why he did it has never truly been revealed, and maybe it never will. But at the same time, at least his family can get some justice now, knowing that he's going to be locked up for a very long time. This next story is about a man in a wheelchair that tried to smuggle cocaine into England via Manchester Airport. The Portuguese national has been jailed for 6 years and 9 months for trying to smuggle nearly £1 million worth of cocaine in his electric wheelchair at Manchester Airport on the 30th of March this year. Casimiro Dao Lemos Francisco, 56 years old, was actually able-bodied and he didn't need a wheelchair. He rode the electric wheelchair through the airport as he arrived from Bridgetown in Barbados. When he was stopped by Border Force, he said he was in the country for 2 days to see a friend. The wheelchair was scanned, and when officers asked him what was hidden inside, he said, "I don't know, you will have to ask my friend." Concealed in the backrest and seat were 11 packages of cocaine, weighing 12 kilos and worth £880,000. Hidden in the battery compartment was a tracking device for a crime group behind the importation to follow its progress. Francisco, who's from the north of Portugal, admitted smuggling Class A drugs at Manchester Airport and was jailed on the 11th of September. National Crime Agency investigating officer Charles Lee said organised crime groups will try anything to smuggle drugs, but using a wheelchair and pretending a man is disabled is particularly abhorrent. The NCA works with partners at home and abroad to combat the sale of Class A drugs and the importation. And funny enough, this is actually the second pensioner to be arrested and convicted for this exact same modus operandi. A pensioner who tried to smuggle cocaine worth £600,000 into the UK, hidden inside a mobility scooter, has been jailed for 6 years also. National Crime Agency police began investigating 71-year-old Robert Lord from Montreal in Canada. He was stopped at Gatwick Airport on the 7th of February 2025. He claimed he was on a 7-day holiday to Barbados and he was also coming to the UK to sightsee. Border Force x-rayed his scooter and found 8 kilos of cocaine hidden in a void in the back seat panel. NCA experts valued the haul at £640,000 at street level prices. Lord told NCA investigators that he didn't know how it got there and denied any knowledge. However, following a search of a screw from the panel was found in his pocket. Investigators also carried out checks with the airline and found he'd lied about his time in Barbados, spending only 3 days there before travelling to the UK. On the 5th of August, during a hearing at Croydon Magistrates Court, he admitted Class A drug smuggling, and on the 5th of September, he was sentenced to 6 years. So these two cases definitely show that there's a pattern emerging with people in wheelchairs going to Barbados and then returning to the United Kingdom. And the sentence for these convictions is definitely steep. In this next story, a HGV driver tried to smuggle £2.9 million worth of cocaine in a consignment of Lego. So he was trying to get cocaine bricks into the country, disguised in Lego bricks. Uzbekistan national Faraz Kandarov, 43 years old, was jailed following a National Crime Agency investigation into the discovery of 35 kilos of cocaine hidden inside his vehicle. Kandarov was stopped by Border Force on the 17th of July this year as his HGV approached the docks at Dover, travelling from Belgium. Inside was a legitimate consignment of 50 pallets of Lego due to be delivered to a shop in Cornby, Northamptonshire. Officers found 20 1-kilo blocks of cocaine hidden under a mattress in Kadarov's bunk, and 15 more were hidden in a fridge motor. He admitted smuggling Class A drugs and on Thursday was jailed for 9 years and 9 months. The operations manager Tracy Gasson said, "Through the brilliant detection work by Border Force and the NCA, we have removed Kadarov, who was a crucial member of an organised crime group. Removing and destroying the drugs also deprives the group of their profits, which cannot now be put back into the criminal conspiracy." In this next case, it involves ketamine, which is a horse tranquilizer and has become a very popular drug over the last several years in the party scene across the United Kingdom. The police have claimed that they've found a seizure of £17 million worth, 35 sacks filled with 875 kilos of ketamine were discovered by Merseyside Organised Crime Partnership, a team of investigators that formed from the National Crime Agency and Merseyside Police with the assistance of the Matrix Disruption Team. They tackle high-risk organised crime in the country and intercepted a van on East Lancashire Road in Merseyside on the 16th of September 2025. In the back of the vehicle, they found the 35 sacks with 875 kilos in. A 46-year-old man from Liverpool was driving the van and was arrested and taken into custody. DCI Tony Roberts from the Organised Crime Partnership said, "Merseyside Police has made a significant seizure of the drug that is posing a serious threat to UK communities. Our operation has ensured a large quantity of ketamine will never make it onto the streets of the UK." And we're definitely going to keep you updated on anything to do with that story. This next story involves a qualified pilot that used his light aircraft in a bid to smuggle cocaine into the United Kingdom, and he's just been jailed this week for 9 years, following an investigation by the National Crime Agency. The pilot, called Anastasio Balian, 52 years old, and his accomplice was Errol Weir, 49 years old, admitted trying to bring 30 kilos of Class A drugs into the country after being stopped by Border Force police on the 20th of March in the North Weald airfield in Epping, Essex, after they landed from Belgium via Calais. Police searched the small plane and discovered a concealment that had been built into the rear seats. Inside, they found 30 1-kilo blocks of cocaine with a street value of £2.5 million. The passenger, Weir, a photographer from Lewisham, South London, admitted smuggling the drugs in April when he was arrested and appeared at Chelmsford Crown Court. In May, Badian, who runs a company conducting aerial surveys, also admitted the same count. A WhatsApp chat was discovered between the offenders' phones, and it contained a link to a news story with the headline, "Gang use small aircraft to drop cocaine into Dorset." Badian from Hertfordshire joked in another message that the gang must have watched a film by Tom Cruise called American Made, which is a pilot based on a light aircraft cocaine trafficking into the United States. Weir and Badian have been jailed for 7 years and 9 months each. The operations manager Paul Orchard said that Badian used his expertise and apparent legitimacy to enable the attempted importation of Class A drugs. The organised crime groups that traffic them don't care about anybody and they only care about money. Badian and Weir were part of this crime group, and we worked with our partners at Border Force in order to bring them down. So I really appreciate you joining me for these stories. I'll be back again very shortly with some more news. Don't forget to follow online as well on Twitter, Instagram, Telegram and TikTok. And don't forget to send your stories to scarcitystudios@gmail.com. Peace.